And Protoss, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kylaris, and this is going to be episode 5 of PGAs, and it's going to be featuring Archanfel. I imagine he wanted to call himself Archangel and missed the F, missed the G even, and hit the F button because they're right next to each other, so yeah, that's interesting. Interesting name, mate. There we go. And he does have this nice little Diablo symbol there. I'm obsessed with these symbols, they're awesome. And his opponent is going to be Black Cat 13, who seems Zergy. And yeah, it's the Zerg player is actually a platinum player in this game, and Archanfel. I need to be able to call you Archangel. No, screw it. It doesn't matter. Arc is going to be a silver level player in this game, so this is going to be the PVZ on Lost Temple, and we're going to be having a look at what Archanfel does in this game. So as you can see, you just throw that pylon down at 9. Very, very standard timing there for that pylon, and going to be chrono boosting out a few probes there. Nothing too strange about that. Looking over to the Zerg in these brief moments of boredom. Nothing strange going on here, no kind of rush coming from the Zerg, and he has sent this Overlord here. I'm not so sure that Archanfel has seen this Overlord here, but he's already sent the probe to the right position. Just a bit of a tip, really, what I like to do on this map as a Protoss player. I normally like to send my first scouting probe over to the very opposite corner of the map. For cross-position purposes, just in case, because if they are actually throwing if they are actually doing some kind of cheese and they are in this position here, or if you send your probe here and you see that they are here, you're in a lot better position in order to be able to actually plan out the game. Because if they are over here, no doubt they're going to be sending their Overlord over in this direction, and you can just send a probe out on the 1 minute to 1 minute 10 mark, and you will notice that Overlord coming across here. So as we can see, double gas already very quickly here by Archanfel. I'm not sure what he's going to be doing here, and I'm surprised that he actually does do this. Also, I saw whilst he was throwing down this gateway on 13, he did throw that assimilator down straight after actually cutting probes to get this assimilator duo down. So I'm under the assumption he's going to be going for something very gas heavy, because if not, this is very uneconomical. And if you are planning to do a kind of build where you're doing this double gas thing, you really need to justify this double gas very heavily. So I would say you really need to be cranking out the probes. As you can see here, no probes producing. You really need to just bind this and be pressing it. It's currently bound to 4 for Archanfel here. You just really need to be pressing 4E every so often in order to be able to keep up with probe production. It's very important in this game to keep up with your economy and also keep on top of your chrono boost. I imagine either he's going to be saving this chrono boost for the warp gate technology, or just not using it at all and being neglected. So as you can see over in the Zerg base, he's morphing a very, very fast layer, and at this point Archanfel doesn't know this at all. I'm not sure why this probe is over in this position, but you really need to keep your probe in the base of your opponent, scouting to see what is going on. At this current point, Archanfel doesn't know that there isn't an expansion up. If this was a normal Zerg play, there would probably be an expansion up, so it's really important to note that you really need to keep your probe in the base, because currently, if we look at the vision tab, Archanfel sees only that there was a spawning pool going up and no clue that there is a fast layer coming. So considering that there is a fast layer coming at this point, Archanfel, if he had scouted that, he would really, I would be assuming mutas from a very fast layer, and if Black Cat 13 does decide to go very fast mutas on this map here, on this game, Archanfel without proper scouting would be in dire straits and pretty much insta-lose the game, because there'll be too much harass here, and there's only one sentry coming out right now, and the robo facility going down. So 2-gate, 1 robo. Nice build here, 2-gate, 1 robo is a very, very standard build, although I would say that the initial cost that you put Archanfel put into these 2 gas assimilators was just not worth it. So as you can see here, pushing out with 2 zealots. I don't really like this push out with 2 zealots, especially this late on into the game. If we look at the counter here, we're 6 minutes 30 seconds into the game. 2 zealots at this point would be pretty pointless unless your opponent has no units whatsoever. But as you can see here, almost getting surrounded. Not too bad a force field there, but this zealot is caught and slightly idle. I would like to see this force field either preventing them all from getting up, or splitting the forces, allowing you to just pick off as many as you can with 2 zealots that get up. So again, I don't really like this the push out that Archanfel tried to do with these 2 zealots. I would rather see an earlier push with 1 zealot, 1 stalker, in order to be able to pick off maybe a queen or things like that, in order to be able to put your opponent a little bit behind. And this observer feels kind of not too needed. I mean, Archanfel before could have seen what he needed to see with just a probe in the base of Black Cat, and this observer seems a tad premature. I can understand why he needs it, because he hasn't done much scouting, and at lower levels of play people rely on observers quite a lot in order to be able to get as much intelligence as possible, but it's wasting minerals in essence for as much as you can be doing. So we do see Archanfel is throwing down another gate, as well as grabbing an Immortal. I'm kind of curious as to what this Immortal was inspired by. I mean, if he did see a Roach Warren with this Observer, then yeah, that's fine or whatever. But as you can see, he does see like just Zerglings and Hydralisks, and I mean, Immortals don't do too great against this kind of defense from a Zerg player. So these Hydras have been caught down here, but there were too many Zerglings here. Really needs to do better force fields on the ramp here in order to able to prevent these Zerglings from coming up. And also, actually coming back to it, I'm not too fond of this building placement against Zerg. I personally always make a choke off having my gateway here, my cybernetics core here, and then having 1 zealot there in order to be able to prevent kind of run-ups from these Zerglings. And that means you don't really need as many force fields as you would normally like to have on the ramp. So as you can see here, I keep saying that, I fucking hate, excuse me, I hate myself for saying that so much, but it doesn't matter too much. The pylon did get sniped off next to that robo facility, and to be honest, Archanfel here at this point isn't doing too bad a job of holding this off, but if this was a higher level Zerg player, the higher level Zerg player would just stream Zerglings into the base at this point, and this would be GG right here. It's not a good thing that this pylon, this robo facility is completely unpowered. You really need an overlap of pylon power on your buildings in order to be able to make sure that, say if like all these 3 gates and 1 robo were powered by 1 pylon, and that pylon just went, you'd just be completely dead from there on. And also, I'm not so sure about this robo facility at this point. I mean, there's no reason why Archanfel, if his macro was a little bit better, he could have been throwing down an expansion here. And in fact, he could have got his expansion up a lot earlier than the Zerg in this game, due to the fact that this Zerg is going for a very late expansion, as he did go for this layer and Hydralisk Den very early. I'm really quite surprised. If we look at the money count for both of these players, we see that it's in high reaches right now. Archanfel's was at about 800, and as you can see, the Zerg is also a very high number as well. And this is the trap that a lot of lower players fall into. The fact that they see that their money is high on 1 base, or 2 base, or whatever. I mean, 2 base isn't so much of a problem because you can fund a lot more off 2 base, obviously. But people see that their money is high on 1 base, so they throw down more gateways, assuming that they need to be able to spend that money better by getting more units. But that isn't true at all. You really can only sustain off 1 base this 2 gates with this robo, especially if you're going for a robotics pay as well. These Hydralisks can't be micro too well, just warping in 1 unit at a time to try and pick these off. I really would like to see Archanfel warping a few units as opposed to just throwing these zealots to their death every so often. And we do see a Colossi coming out now. I mean, Colossi are always good in pretty much most situations, but it's interesting timing on this Colossus. And as I said before, I would like to see an expansion being down a lot earlier before, especially again before these 3 gateways right here. These 3 gateways are just not going to be able to produce at all. And as you can see here, these warp gates aren't even warped in, and we're already hitting, we were pretty much broke at that point minerals wise. And as we can see, oh my god, I keep saying Archanfel here right now is really kind of paying for that early gas. 900 gas banked up right now. There was no need for these early gases at all. This gas can go down at 14 quite easily. I remember this player did cut production of probes in order to get these double gas out. And up at top here now we do see 3 Zealots and 1 Colossi moving out across the map. This isn't really a big enough force in order to be able to push out against a Zerg player, especially in the higher reaches of play. Really need to consolidate your forces. If you look in the back here, another Colossi has just come out and really needs to be warping in more units. These gateways have just been very, very stationary, not doing anything for a while. And whoa, what's going on? Hello, are you gonna wake up? Oh my god, everything's frozen. Whoa, hey up, what's going on? Seriously. Okay, sorry about that. Technical difficulties interrupted the flow of things. So let's get right back into this. Archanfel now has 2 Colossi here, as well as a lot of Zealots. Zealots are very nice support for the Colossi, especially against this kind of heavy... Wow, those just ripped through though. Oh my god. Especially against the kind of heavy Hydras. I mean, especially, again, if you had Colossi charge? Zealot charge, that would be really strong against this. But it seems that during this game, Archanfel really kind of needs to work on his macro. And this expansion is really late here. This could have come a lot earlier and put him in a lot better position. And a lot of those early attacks that Black Cat put on, his macro isn't that great either. A lot of those early attacks could have been thwarted considerably by better macro on these gates, as well as better force field placement on either the ramp, or if you choose to go for that early expansion, better force fields, say if you built a pylon here and another gate there, better force fields along here. These are all just like great examples of like how to kind of improve that early game mentality. And it's just very important to note that you can only really run off 2-gate Robo, 2-gate Stargate, or 3-gate on one base while still being able to economically expand. So I mean, it seems like a good game here. Black Cat's in a bit of a bad spot. This Spire has just gone up and there's a Mutalist coming out. I think Black Cat would have been in a lot of better position if he'd gone for a Spire as opposed to a Hydralist then, especially since he went for such a quick layer. I would say that you could quite easily punish your opponent for going such a fast layer, having no units out initially. You could probably send in 2 Zealots, 1 Stalker, or 2 Stalkers, 2 Zealots initially if you did Chrono Boost them out, and it would put real hurt on a player that's going for this really fast layer. So thank you very much for listening to this, guys. I hope you kind of caught some snippets of information during this video. If you like what you see, please subscribe, and if you really like what you see, please donate so I can get my US account all that faster. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you guys next time.